Good afternoon, YouTubers. Forest Boy here. Welcome to the channel. Thank you for watching. It's another beautiful day in the Forest of Dean. So today I'm going to tell you the story of the car and the goat. It's a true story. And believe it or not, this is the third or maybe even the fourth time I've come out to do this video or tell this story while I'm doing a ride. But thanks to the ultra reliable GoPro, it's failed miserably previous 3 times. I think I made a big mistake buying GoPro. Anyway, that's the story for another time. So anyway, if you're interested in the story of the goat and the car, join me after the intro. So it's been, wow, look at this, the forest is busy today, lots of tourists. It's the half marathon tomorrow, I think, so they're getting busy gearing up for that. Nice day today, but it's forecast rain for tomorrow. That won't stop them. Anyway, it's been a while since I put a video up. Probably 6 weeks. It's been a very busy period. The wife and I managed to get away for a week in the motorhome, spur of the moment thing. Then we've had the builders in for a couple of weeks, putting us in a new bathroom and shower and one thing and another. I'm now halfway through ripping the kitchen out and fitting a new kitchen, and next week, or in about 4 days time, I have to go in to have some follow-up surgery. I don't know, I had, funny enough, 12 months ago actually, but it's been a long time coming. I've had 4 cancellations in the last 9 months. It's been pretty horrendous, to be honest. I'm not particularly worried about the operation, but just the keep cancelling appointments all the time and building yourself up ready for the operation, because I've got to go under general anaesthetic. It's not a local, it's a general anaesthetic. So just all the stress and concerns, and you build yourself up ready for it and then you're let down. It's been cancelled. So I'm hoping that at least when I get there this time, it won't be cancelled. Anyway, it'll be what it is. So that'll be me out of action for a few more weeks. So today, really, a couple of hours spare today, and I thought, well, I'll go and do this one again and see what happens this time. I think I made a big mistake buying GoPro. I was debating whether to buy the GoPro or the DJI and the Osmo. I don't know why, but I went with the GoPro, and I think I made a expensive mistake, to be honest. It's a lovely camera when it works well. It's beautiful. Oh, it's just so unreliable. The boys are out today. So, anyway, the story of the goat and the car. When I was about 15, I suppose. Yeah, about 15 to 16. I started work at 15. I left school, started work at 15 years old, so I was definitely at work. So I was 15. So this is mid to late 60s. My dad said to me, oh, we've got to go and fetch this car. Somebody's phoned up, they've got an old car in a barn, they've just bought a house. There's a car out the back in a barn or a shed. We'll go and fetch this car. So off we jump in the truck, off we go. Fetch this car. I had no idea what it was, just an old car. So found the house, went there. The guy took us around the back. There's an old shed garage thing which is all tumbling down, and inside is this great big red car, big soft top thing. Didn't mean anything to me. It was covered in dust and dirt and cobwebs, and bits of timber had fell down on it, and it was in a pretty poor state. Well, it looked poor to me. Anyway, Dad had a bit of a haggle with the guy. Dad wanted to give him £3, and I think he ended up giving him a £5 for this car. So we got the winch on it, dragged it out, put it on the back of the truck, took it away. We're driving home. Dad's quite excited about this car. He obviously knew what it was, I didn't. It was an Alvis, an old Alvis. And something that he quite liked and quite cherished. So he decided that this car wasn't going to go in the yard, it was going to go in the shed. And when he had a few quid to spare, that's a laugh, we never had any money to spare. Anyway, when he had a few quid to spare, he was going to do it up and keep it. So it went in the shed, got covered in a sheet, and it stayed there for years, gathering dust. Occasionally somebody would find out about it and come and try and buy it, but he wasn't having any of it. He wouldn't sell it no matter what they offered him for it. He was keeping this car until he had a few quid to spare. So a few years passed by, we forgot all about the car. It was in the shed collecting dust. I was then about 17 or 18, I suppose. Dad asked me to go and fetch a goat. He'd bought a goat off a guy that we knew, local guy. And he asked me to go and fetch it. So I had an Austin Cambridge A55 or A60, a green one, I always remember. I paid £4 for it. Nice car. So me and my mate Andy, off we went to a local village to fetch this goat. So I turned up at the guy's little small holding, it was. Guy came out. Oh, my dad sent me to fetch the goat. Yeah, okay, he said, no problem. Hang on, I'll go and fetch the goat. So we're stood there waiting. I think this goat's going to come out in a little box, you know, small goat, take it home. Instead, he came out with the biggest goat I've ever seen in my life. This thing was like a donkey. It was that big. It was massive. Great big white thing. I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to do with that? He said, well, we'll stick it in the car. Let's stick it in the car anyway. We didn't have any option, so Andy and I now had to get this goat in the car. So we had a rope around its neck, so we chucked the rope through the car. I go the other side, get hold of the rope through the window, and I'm pulling, and these two, Andy and the guy my dad bought the goat off, they're pushing. and the goat was fighting because he wasn't getting in the back of no car. So we had quite a struggle. He kicked and bit and spit and screamed and made a noise, and he did not want to get in the car. Anyway, eventually we managed to get him in the car, and I pulled his head through the window and we wound the window up. So we had him in the back seat, we had him on the back seat, and we had his head out the window with the window wound up. And he was very unhappy. I suppose you couldn't blame him, really. And to be honest, from that day on, a lot of tourists today. From that day on, he never really liked me very much. In fact, he didn't like me at all. And if I'm honest, I didn't really like him. The horrible, smelly, dirty thing. Anyway, we drove home with this goat on the back seat of the car, his head out the window, and he was not happy. He was creating holy hell in the back. Got him home to Dad's place. Opened the car and got him out. He promptly tried to bite me and headbutt me, and wow, he was unhappy. Anyway, Dad was chuffed to bits with him. I thought he was wonderful. Oh, fantastic. What a lovely goat. Bloody thing. And he called him Paddy. Paddy McGinty's goat he was. Anyway, that was the goat delivered, and everybody was happy. Enjoying the sunshine in their soft top. Anyway, back to the story. So, a few years went by, or a few more years went by, and Dad was taken ill, quite seriously ill. He was given a few years to live. So I was trying to think of something to do for him, and I remembered this car. So I thought I would see if it was possible to get the car renovated. So I went to see a friend of ours who we'd known for a long time, and he used to renovate old cars. That was what he did for a living. So I took the car, or he came to look at the car, And he said, yeah, it's not too bad actually. You know, it looks far worse than it is. It needed a new hood because it was a convertible. The wood needed tidying up a bit inside because it was all wooden inside. The body was actually, he said, was quite good. It wanted repairing here and there, but in general it was quite good. The wire wheels, because it had these beautiful spoked wire wheels on it, they had to come off and be refurbished, and it needed new tyres, things like that. But in general it was okay. It wasn't a new body sort of thing. Anyway, so we took the car to him, or I took the car to him, and the agreement was that I would pay him so much money every month until I paid the bill. He was a great guy, good friend. In fact, he's still alive today. I saw him only recently. He's quite an old guy now, but he remembered doing the car. So he had the car, and he had the car for probably, well, it was over a year. It took him over a year to do it. Well, basically what he did the car in between other jobs, because obviously other jobs were better paying than me. So whenever he had a bit of spare time, or an evening, or a few hours, he would work on the car. He would get bits done, and it took well over a year to finish the car. Dad had had a couple of operations. He wasn't doing well, but he was still getting about a bit. And I wanted to get the car finished and get the car to him while he was still able to enjoy it. So I didn't tell him I was having the car done. I just kept it a secret. I did go and see him, and the bloody goat was still there, much to the annoyance of all the neighbours. God, it was an awful thing. It used to escape. It had a great big paddock to live in. Big paddock, more than enough for one goat. But it loved escaping and getting into neighbours' gardens and eating their gardens. So it would do this all the time. And my dad would make excuses for it with the neighbours. He would get their gardens repaired, buy them new plants, whatever it took, anything to. And always making excuses for this bloody goat. Anyway, the goat was still going strong. He looked fit and healthy. He was going to live forever, I think. Well, I disliked him. The neighbours hated him, and my dad loved him. Thought he was great fun. Anyway, time went on. Eventually the car got finished. It was probably, by the time it was finished and I got it to Dad, it was probably 2.5 years from when he was first diagnosed. So time was running out. So the car was finished. I went and collected the car. Dad still knew nothing about it. Drove it to his house. The one and only time I ever drove it. Drove it to his house. This beautiful red gleaming paintwork. Oh, I mean, it looks stunning. That big, great big 6-cylinder engine in it. I don't know what size it was, but it was a big 3.5 litre, something like that. Beautiful thing, purred like a clock. You know, it was gorgeous. The paintwork was beautiful, as I say. The chrome wire wheels were shining. It had a brand new hood on it. All the leather upholstery had been brought back to good condition. It smelled beautiful inside. I mean, it really was a nice car. It was a beautiful car. So I drove it in, put it on the drive. Dad came out and saw it. Oh my gosh, the look on his face. I'll never forget that look on his face. He was so pleased. And so was I. I mean, it had cost me a fortune. And I still had a year to pay. So the guy had been working on the car As I say, for all this time I've been paying him so much a month, and at the monthly rate I was paying him, I still had a year to go before the car was paid for. Thank you. Before this car was paid for and finished. But I didn't care, it was done. Dad loved it, it gave him a bit of pleasure at the end of his life. And he used to drive this car, oh, he was thrilled to bits. Take it out with the hood down, and it was just a gorgeous thing. So that was great. He was happy, I was happy. I thought I'd done something nice for him, and a bit of pleasure in a bit of light in very dark times. So anyway, a few months or weeks went by, probably no more than 2 or 3 months. I called by the house to see how he was getting on, and there was the Alvis parked on the drive as usual, but it was wrecked. It was absolutely wrecked. I thought he'd crashed it. The paintwork was all gouged and messed up. The hood was ripped to shreds. There was nothing left of the hood. The seats were damaged. There was bits out of the seats, like this leather was all ripped. The woodwork on the dash was damaged. There were lumps missing out of it. I mean, it was scrap. It looked like scrap. It was terrible. And I'm looking at this thing thinking, what on earth has happened to this car? So Dad come out. What's happened to the car? I said. Oh, he said, the goat escaped and he ate it. He was like, I said, what do you mean? He said, well, the goat got out. You know what he's like, he's always getting out. I said, yeah, but he said, yeah, well, he ate the car. I mean, he had literally eaten the car. I'd never seen anything like it in my life. So I'm starting to boil now. I had red hair in those days and I had the temper to go with it. And I'm really starting to boil. And I look round and I swear to God, that goat laughed at me. He sneered at me. I know he did. He looked at me and he sneered and he went, gotcha. Paid you back, you bugger. I'm jumping up and down like a lunatic. I went in the house. I got the 12-bore shotgun, 2 cartridges. I came back out. Dad seen me coming and he stood in front of the goat. The goat's looking around him like this, looking at me, laughing. I know he was laughing. So what are we doing? I said, I'm going to shoot the goat. He got to go, I'm going to shoot the goat. And I'm raging like a madman now. And you could see all the neighbours' curtains going and twitching. And they're all looking out thinking, what's going on out there? What's that noise? And there's me with a shotgun trying to shoot the goat. And Dad stood in front of the goat. And they must have all been rubbing their hands in glee thinking, yeah, at last, the bloody goat's going to get it. Thank God for that. About time. Anyway, Dad wasn't having any of it, man. He was not letting me shoot this goat, no matter how much I ranted and raved. I didn't have the heart to tell him that I still had a year to go to pay for this car, which this poxy goat had destroyed. I'm laughing now. I wasn't laughing at the time. This is the beautiful little village of Newland in the Forest of Dean. A nice pub here called the Ostrich, just there. Does good food. See people out there enjoying themselves now. Nice place if you want to come and stay in the forest. Beautiful place. I think there's a few little bed and breakfast places here as well. Newland. I'm not sitting behind him. Yeah, so anyway, he wouldn't let me shoot the goat. He wasn't having any of it. Oh, he said, you can't shoot the goat for doing that. I said, well, he's wrecked a car that I had done up and everything. Oh, well, he said, he's just a goat. He's just doing what goats do. You can't blame a goat for being a goat. He said, he's doing what comes naturally. I said, how many goats eat cars? Oh, well, he said, that's just the way it is. You're not shooting my goat. It's only a car. It's only a car. So I calmed down. I didn't get to shoot the goat, unfortunately. And I went away with my tail between my legs. I went back a couple of weeks later, or whenever it was the next time I went back. And there was an old Mazda on the drive, and the Elvis was gone. And what's that? He said, oh, that's my new car. I said, what, bloody old Mazda? Yeah, he said. Good car, he said, nice car. I said, well, where's the Elvis? I swapped it for the Mazda. So my dad had swapped the Elvis that he'd wanted all his life because the goat ate it, so he swapped it for an old Mazda. But that was my dad all over. Always stick up for the underdog, always stick up for the little guy. Always see the best in everybody, including goats. And he passed away probably 6 months after that, no more than that. He was still a very young man, didn't make 50, nowhere near it. And I still miss him today, all these years later, and I still think of him as just a kind, generous man and a great goat lover. Well, that's the story of the car and the goat. I don't know what happened to the goat. I never got the chance to shoot him, so I really don't know what happened to him. I mean, he's probably still out there somewhere eating people's cars and gardens and fences and whatever he can get his horrible face chops around. I don't know what happened to him. But he had the last laugh, that was for sure. He took his revenge on me. Oh, the river wire is on my left now. There it is. So there we go, that's the end of today's video. Thank you very much for watching, do appreciate it. If you want to make a comment, please make a comment. I always try and reply, keep them polite though. If you want to see some more, hit the notification button or the subscribe button. There'll be some more coming soon. As I say, it'll be a couple of weeks because I have a procedure to go through. But as soon as I'm over that, I'll start doing some more videos and tell you what I've got planned for the future. So this is Forest Boy signing out. Thank you very much. See you again. Ride safe. Take care. Bye for now.